So we have some drama in this recap. The Yankees and the Orioles rivalry reached a boiling point last night because benches emptied, the bullpens emptied, managers were shoving players. Pete Alonso, he's found himself in some drama as well. Fans are blaming him for why Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo are not all-stars. By the way, the Mets and the Rockies hit 9 home runs in their game yesterday, and Mason Miller, he was out there chucking 103, 104. Do not miss out on that. We're going to talk about all of that and more in today's MLB recap. We post these almost every single day, so stick around, hit that subscribe button. Also, save yourself 20 bucks off on SeatGeek using code Fuzzy. And if you have not downloaded or signed up for Underdog Fantasy, today might be the day to do so because you get a free Bryce Harper pick'em using code Fuzzy and up to $250 in bonus cash credit. You're welcome. So before we show any game, we got to check out the 9 home runs and the Pete Alonso drama. Jose Iglesias, he has a song called OMG, and not gonna lie, I've been humming it all week long. It wasn't played on that swing. The Mets, they play it on every home run, but obviously Big Mike, Michael Toglia, he's on the Rockies. They're not gonna play it. Toglia has 9 home runs over the last month, by the way. Mark Vientos, he answers. This kid rakes as well. He's up to 12 home runs and a 162 OPS plus. He's been better than Pete, but I know that might sound random, but it is important. Jose Iglesias, he broke out the song as well, his own song. He smoked a home run. He's crossing home plate. He's performing for the crowd. They're into it. And Harrison Bader, he's been so good this year. Wait for his second home run because Mark Vientos, he laced an RBI extra base hit. The only RBI not on a home run in this game. So it's 4-2 Mets. Make it 6-2. Harrison now has 8 home runs, 13 stolen bases, and 5 outs above average. That's his second career multi-home run game. And this is a first. Jose Iglesias had never had a multi-home run game. They're playing his song left and right, and now it's Colorado's turn, I guess. Brandon Rogers and Charlie Blackmon, they both connected for solo shots. The Charlie Blackmon home run was crazy because going lefty-lefty versus Jake Diekman is not easy. Brenton Doyle, 14 home runs, 20 stolen bases. That's 9 home runs in one game. That is the most in Major League Baseball this season. Edwin, he had a scary 9th inning, 2 got on, but he does end the game. Now, why did I say Mark Vientos has been better than Pete? Well, one, it's because he has been. Same with Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo, but somehow Pete Alonso is the Mets All-Star. Well, Ken Rosenthal, the reporter, he explained why that happened.
Alonso doesn't really deserve to be an All-Star, not over Brandon Nimmo, not over Francisco Lindor, but he's in the game because he indicated that he won't be in the Derby unless he's in the game, and they needed him in the Derby, so no Lindor, no Nimmo. It's just a crazy kind of year, and it's unfortunate because this is a big deal.
So in a nutshell, Ken basically said that the only reason why Pete Alonso was named as the Mets All-Star is because he doesn't do the Derby unless he's an All-Star. But Pete said that he wouldn't do the Derby unless he played like an All-Star. He's not been playing like an All-Star, so why would he accept a fake All-Star nod? I know it's not 100% his fault. I blame both him and Major League Baseball. But his rule is the reason why Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo are not the Mets All-Star representative. I know a lot of Mets fans don't want to hear that, but most Mets fans on Twitter and social media, they understand, like, it is Pete's fault. But again, it's not 100% his fault. MLB did cave, and they gave him the All-Star nod because they were begging him to be in the Derby because the Derby lineup is a little bit thin. So who's to blame for this? I just feel bad for Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo because that's the reason why they're not in the All-Star game. All right, moving on. Baltimore, they're trying to avoid losing 4 games in a row. Not a great start after Santander whiffed a Volpe single. Now he's on third base. Trevino, he lined one down the left field line. In scores Volpe. The former Oriole, Jahmai Jones, I think they got him a couple years ago in the Alex Cobb trade. It's just crazy how fast things change. Baltimore did get one back on a Ramon Urias RBI triple, but Aaron Judge, he reminded us all that he's probably the best hitter in baseball. That's his 33rd home run, and even after a 2-week-long slump, he still has a 207 OPS on the season. Garrett Cole, he looked like his Cy Young self. Aside from the Urias RBI triple, he put the Orioles in a blender. He goes 6 innings with 7 strikeouts, just 1 walk. He threw 106 pitches coming off of UCL concerns, so Paul Skeens, I think he could have thrown more. But anyways, it's a different story for a different day. Juan Soto, he contributed with another RBI, and it's 4-1 Yankees. It could have been more, but the Orioles walked Judge 4 times, so he was 1 for 1 with 4 walks. And oh boy, this rivalry is about to get dangerous. Like, it's already been weird, but check this out. It's raining. Clay Holmes, he had a runaway fastball slip out of his hand. I do not think that it was on purpose, but it hit Heston Kjerstad in the helmet. And then all hell broke loose after that. Brandon Hyde, the manager of the Orioles, he's shoving Austin, not shoving, I'm being dramatic, pushing a little bit Austin Wells. The benches and the bullpen empty. It started when Aaron Judge got hit a few weeks ago. Gunnar, he had an up and in, and then I think he also got hit as well. These guys, they throw way too hard to be doing this. And again, I don't think it was on purpose. but it did get ugly. Clay eventually got the last few outs. He has 21 saves. And yeah, the Orioles, they have lost 4 games in a row, so the Yankees are back to 1 game of first place. Speaking of being back in first place, if Houston and the Angels win, Houston will be back to 1 game of first place. Adolis, he got robbed right there. 2 runs were going to score if Chaz misses it, but he did not miss it. Starter Hunter Brown, he's hyped up because he's been on a hot streak and he loves it. Seager, he ends the third with a double play, so Hunter Brown is through 3 scoreless, and Houston, they rewarded him with the hustle RBI. Jordan, he beat out Seager's throw, and Dubon never stopped running. He put his head down rounding third base. He scores easy. Jake Myers, he added a run all by himself. He makes it 2-0 on his 9th home run. And Bregman, he grabbed his first hit of the night, his 12th home run. He's got 34 RBIs and a near 880 OPS his last 50-ish games. Seager, he lifted off. No double play here. With 1 swing, he makes it a 1-run game and he ruins Hunter Gem's shutout. But lucky for Hunter Brown, he has Jose Altuve on his side. That is a 3-run home run, and he just kind of tossed his bat at the ball. He's skipping the All-Star game to rest, which he seems fine considering he's hitting 3-run home runs, but regardless, Josh Hader, he locked in for 2 strikeouts and his 18th save. His ERA is back under 4. All right, here we go. The Yankees are 1 game back of first. The Astros can be 1 game back of first, but J-Rod, he doesn't like the sound of that. He's white hot right now. He's hitting .542 or something crazy like that and 3 home runs over his last 7 starts. Did Willie Calhoun match him? He did. Calhoun, he turned on a 96 fastball for a 2-run home run. It's all tied up now. We're still in the first, and what am I watching? Moniak, he tagged the pitch. It deflects to Polanco. It then deflected off of Brian Wu's glove, who was covering Ohapi. He breaks for home. He's out at home. I thought the Little League World Series was next month, not in July. Now, imagine seeing this guy in Little League. Cal Raleigh, he was probably the kid who just happened to be 6 foot at 12 years old, just mashing home runs, so everyone thought that he was cheating. That's another home run. Make it 5 home runs and 10 RBIs over his last 4 games. He has 20 home runs, and by the way, he walks a ton 11% of the time, and he might be the best framing catcher in baseball. He's very good. The Halos, they answer back. Here comes Moniak. That's a 3-bagger. Adele knocks him in, so it's 4-3 Seattle, and it's tied up again. Nolan Schanuel, he cracked his bat for an RBI blooper. Both teams and their bullpens locked in. Nothing happened for a while. So in the 10th inning, Mitch Garver, the Mariners are back out in front. That landed just in front of the diving Taylor Ward. The Halos relief pitcher Hans Krause, or Cruz, something like that, he did a nice job to strike out 2 in a row. So only 1 scores, which means that this is a walk-off Willie bomb. Willie Calhoun with the 2-run home run. He had 4 RBIs after 2 2-run home runs, which I think the second one was funny because that was a leadoff 2-run home run, only because the ghost runner rule is in existence. Yeah, the Astros, they're 1 game back of the Mariners. Moving on, I know that's Alejandro Kirk running, but that is still a sick play from Geraldo Perdomo. We're going to skip to the 8th now. I'm not really sorry about it because nearly every single run was on a ground out or a fly out. So yes, I'm skipping to the 8th. Toronto, they're up by 2, and Alec Thomas, he clutched up with his first base hit of the night. Both runners were moving with 2 outs, so it's not up at 4. Toronto, they wanted no part of Walker, or they also just wanted a force out. So they load the bases for Geraldo Perdomo. Corbin Carroll's at third base. This is going to be fun. Perdomo, he skies one to Dalton Varsho. Varsho used to be a catcher, so he's got a nice little arm. He got behind it with a running start, and it wasn't very close. Too much lift on that throw. Solid attempt, but yeah, that is a walk-off for Perdomo. The Snakes have won 3 games in a row, and both the Padres and the Dodgers are on the verge of losing 5 games in a row. We'll show LA versus Detroit first because Tarek Skubal was on the bump and he's a must-watch. This was all Tigers early on because Riley Green, he doubled in 1. Vierling, he can scoot though, so it's actually a 2-run double. Another extra base hit for the Tigers. Justin Henry Malloy. I thought that Hernandez was going to catch it, but it dropped in for a long RBI triple. This is a rare sight. Freddie Freeman got one to go, and usually teams stack righties versus Skubal because, lefties, they almost have no chance of hitting Tarek. He's that nasty. But when you're a future Hall of Famer who leads the league in runs scored, hits, doubles, RBIs, total bases, like not for 2024, but active leaders, that's what Freddie Freeman leads in. Andy Pajes, he drilled a line drive, so it's now 3-2 Detroit. Tarek, he does allow those 2, but he also struck out 8, and he left with a lead. And there it goes. I think that this ball hit the top of Teo's bat because it sounded hollow. And look who clutched up Ohtani with 1 out to spare. It was just a matter of time before he was about to break out of his slump. His RBI puts the Dodgers up by 1. And Daniel Hudson, the ageless wonder, he got into some trouble, but Riley, he lined out to end it. The Dodgers, they break their little skid. What about the Padres? I saw some delusional Padres fans saying team chemistry is better without Fernando Tatis. Well, you just lost your 5th game in a row. I'm going to spoil it, but at least Xander Bogaerts is back, so by this time next week, you should have Tatis and Bogaerts in the lineup again. Manny put the Padres up by 1, but we already know what happened. Marcell Ozuna hit a towering home run off the knuckleballer Matt Waldron. He has 76 RBIs. That is the most by a Brave ever before the All-Star break. D'Arnaud, he stole the lead with an RBI knock the other way, and Orlando Arcia pummeled a 2-run tater right after. Marcell, he looks primed and ready for the home run derby. He went yard a second time, so that's 26 home runs and 77 RBIs while also batting .301. Shout out to Spencer Schwellenbach. He went 7 innings, held the Padres to 1 run. But yeah, the Padres, they lose their 5th in a row. I think you need Tatis and others back. You guys know I'm a Guardians fan, and my team better get their act together and fast because they're well on their way to losing 5 in a row as well. This was their 3rd consecutive L. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay after Brandon Lau grounded out, and after one of the worst hitters in baseball laced a double, I knew that this game was over. Like, if Alex Jackson is hitting extra base hits, it's over. Yandy, he had a slow roller RBI for Taj Bradley, who legitimately could be the most underrated pitcher in all of baseball. When he's commanding that 97, 98 mile per hour fastball, his splitter becomes unhittable. I mean, look at these pitches. 7 scoreless innings, 8 strikeouts. He has a 1 ERA and 53 strikeouts over his last 42 innings. Jason Adam, I mean, he ate the Guardians for lunch to strike out the side for his 4th save. Pete Fairbanks apparently had the night off, but let me say, the 2025 Rays staff can be all-time good if health is on their side. Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen, Jeffrey Springs, you have Shane Baz, Zach Eflin, Taj Bradley, I'm probably forgetting people. Oh, Ryan Pepio. But yeah, the Guardians have lost 3 games in a row. They've lost 9 of their last 15, and the Yankees, the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Guardians, all of the good teams, they're going through it the last few days. And to make matters worse, the Royals have won 4 games in a row, our division rival. After going up 1, MJ Melendez, he was kind of blessed because it was pouring rain for a random amount of time, like 2 minutes of pouring rain. He gets the second after the ball squirts away. It stops pouring rain. Play continued, and Adam Frazier, he plates MJ Melendez with an RBI single. They kept it moving. Vinny Pasquantino, he lifted a sac fly. Salvador Perez made it 4-0, which is never good if you're facing Cole Reagans. Now Boston did get one because rookie Sadon, this Rafaela kid is special. He's batting .290 with 25 extra base hits, 42 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases over his last 63 starts. Bobby Wood Jr., he's ready for the Derby as well. He golfed the pitch out, and it went to a member of the Royals front office. Bobby is almost hitting .330 on the season with 16 home runs and 22 stolen bases. Reagans was nasty, so is that nasty squared? He had 7 punchies over 7. He's an all-star, and MJ Melendez apparently owns Boston. I had no idea, but 8 of his 22 career base hits versus the Red Sox have been home runs. Boston better keep that in mind if MJ ever becomes a free agent. The Royals, they've won 4 games in a row. They're 4.5 games back of first place, but they're also tied with the Red Sox now in the wild card. Do not forget about that race. So this is kind of an important series. The Twins are also going to be battling for the wild card in first place all second half, but yeah, they lost this game pretty handily. Mike Yastrzemski got one just past Byron Buxton in center field, and thankfully Buxton is okay. I cringed a little bit. You guys know the history of Byron Buxton. Yaz gets the RBI double, and Brett Wisely, he had a big game, so that's an RBI single, and Brett, he's at it again in the 5th. He legged out a triple. Jorge Soler tattooed a fastball. It's not a home run or anything, and I don't know what the exit velocity was, but it had to have been 110. Brett Wisely, have yourself a day. His approach reminds me a ton of Corbin Carroll. His RBI ground rule double made him a home run away from the cycle. He's got a 120 OPS plus on the season. Spoiler, he didn't get the cycle, but his team does get the W as lefty Kyle Harrison. He held the Twins to 1 run over 5 1/3. Conforto, he slapped one the other way to make it a 7 spot. And by the way, he's a free agent after this year. He has 17 RBIs and a near 400 on base his last 14 starts. He might get moved. I have no idea how this baseball stayed fair, but it did. The former Oakland Athletic Christian Pache, he doubled the deep right. He brought in Weston Wilson, and by the way, Weston took Whit Merrifield's spot. The Phillies just released Whit Merrifield, so keep that in mind. But here comes the A's. Miguel Andujar, he is so strong, he's able to muscle that one just over Trey Turner's head. Brent Rooker, he got it past the diving Bryce Harper at first base. Rooker is somehow not an all-star with 37 extra base hits, 56 RBIs, and a 157 OPS plus. What even is that? Shea Langoliers made it 3 RBI singles in the 3rd when Edmundo Sosa, he did his thing versus lefties. Harper, he trots on home. Philly, they're trying to get back into the game for Ranger Suarez. And Ranger, he threw 2 rainbow curveballs to get Andujar and Rooker. He's 1 out away from getting out of another jam, but Shea beat him. By the way, I forgot to mention that Shea has an RBI in 6 consecutive games. Lawrence Butler, has he arrived? He's hitting .313 with 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases this July. To end the game, the Phillies hitters didn't really like the zone. Schwarber, he had an issue with it. Trey actually got ejected. The A's, they take it 6-2, but hold on. We can't move on just yet because Mason Miller pitched. He was throwing as hard as ever. In this appearance, he got it up to 104 on a foul ball. No save, but man, I wish he was a starter. I want to see him throw 6-7 innings. We just talked about rookie Lawrence Butler going off lately, but there's another rookie on the Reds who's kind of outshining him this month. Now, we'll talk about that in a second because Jonathan India and Jeimer Candelario, they're launching some long balls. India, he's been an extra base machine the last month and a half, and Jeimer, he now has 15 home runs. One more RBI extra base hit. This is off the bat of Will Benson. He scores Rhys Hines, who can actually move as well, and he can move some baseballs too. Days after becoming the first player in Major League Baseball history to have 5 extra base hits in their first 2 games. He also has 2 stolen bases, by the way. He goes grand slam. That's 7 extra base hits, 8 RBIs in his first 5 games. The starter for the Reds, he was pretty good. Carson Spears, he had 9 strikeouts, but he did give up a 3-run tank job to Jesus Sanchez. He takes a mean cut. It's like 150% effort on every swing. Alexis Diaz was not his best self in the 9th, but Elly De La Cruz bailed him out. Elly, he went up the middle. He used that cannon to make the throw on the run. Ball game. Cincinnati has won 7 of their last 11. Chicago played some small ball early on in this one, and after a single, Pete Crow Armstrong, look at how fast he can run. He can burn. Did you see that speed? He's Elly De La Cruz fast. Another bunt got both runners in scoring position, and Nico, he bounced one to Mason Wynn for an RBI grounder. We head to the 4th. Dansby, he drilled a single the other way. He breaks out the dab, and I guess that dab is here to stay. I don't like that, but it's here. Nico secured RBI number 2 on a sac fly, so he did have 2 base hits in this game, but both RBIs came on the outs. Cal Hendricks, he turned back the clock a little bit. He was very, very good. He spun a beauty. 7 scoreless. He lives off of the soft contact in St. Louis. They couldn't barrel up anything. David Bodie, he's an exit velocity king. He knocks in 2 on a double, and with all that power comes a lot of strikeouts, so that's his big bugaboo. Goldie made it a save situation as he plated Mason Wynn, and Hector Neris, he's completely fine with that because now he's able to get his 13th save. The Cubs, they've won 5 games in a row. The Cardinals have lost 3 games in a row. We have another top NL Central team who was on a losing streak. Jesse Winker, his 18th double of the year, makes it 1-0 early. Albert Ruiz doubled the lead with a double of his own. That's 8 base hits already versus Freddie Peralta. Trey Lipscomb, he nearly left the yard, and Garcia scores. Willy Adames did the exact same thing. He and Trey Lipscomb, they both settled for ringing RBI doubles that almost left the yard. Sal Frelick kept on trying to rally the troops for Milwaukee, but his RBI extra base hit was the last of Milwaukee scoring. Jesse Winker, he hit a moonshot of all moonshots. How high was that? He had a 58 OPS plus with the Brewers last year, so that's why, I mean, you can't hear it, but he's getting booed as he's rounding the bases. And Lane Thomas, he makes it a 3-run lead for the Nationals, and CJ Abrams, he goes airborne for the catch. What a web gem. Closer Kyle Finnegan, he's in again. That is save number 24. The Nationals are 6 games back of a wild card spot despite being 9 games under 500. One little hot stretch can get them back into it. I kind of like the wild card. It's chaos. Last game of the day. Predict who's going to win. Is it the White Sox? Because Garrett Crochet's on the bump and shredding, might I add. He struck out the okay, he didn't strike out the side. I got carried away. He went 1-2-3 in the first. He kept on carving. Down goes Ke'Bryan Hayes. Joey Bart, I mean, that was a generous call. That was a ball that was called strike 3, and Garrett's day is over. I guess they want to preserve his arm for the second half. He pretended to be upset. It looked like he was about to throw his glove. He has 150 strikeouts in 107 innings. Now we have some scoring for the White Sox. Luis Robert Jr., he broke his bat for the game's first run, and this game was a slow burner for sure, because check this out. After a White Sox error, Jared Chiolo, he brings in Ke'Bryan Hayes. Michael A. Taylor, he put them up on a sac fly. He barely missed a 3-run home run. Pittsburgh, they didn't really look back from there with Nick Gonzalez. He laced an RBI double, and Ke'Bryan Hayes, he sent it back up the middle. And would you look at this, David Bednar, I didn't know that he was back. He missed a few weeks with injury. He struck out Paul DeJong for a 17 save. The Pirates, they've won 2 games in a row, and they're 2.5 games back of a wild card spot. So that does it for today's recap, and just a heads up, I will be posting tomorrow on Sunday because we have to talk about the final games of the first half. I can't not post, so see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe and enjoy the web gems.
Pops up a bunt. Rutschman makes a sliding play.
Game. And a pop-up, back of second. That's a long run for Simeon, and it's an error.
Diaz the other way, tailing away from Noel, who makes a sliding. Left center. Hop at the...
post up. Mack hoping for a play near the tar. Look out.
He got it.
He got it.
Santana hits one to center, sinking fast. Ramos will.
And on the first pitch, it's going to be Chapman or Wisely, and Chapman